What have we learned from week 11 in the NFL? That the first offensive tackle for the 2024 NFL draft will be drafted by the Tennessee Titans to bolster the pass protection for Will Levis. We're going to talk about this and more coming up next.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Locked On family? Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast covering your favorite draft prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank y'all for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being out every day. As I'm your boy, Damian Parson, always on the ones and twos. You can find and follow me on X at DP_NFL. I'm a national scout and senior draft analyst. And guys, I got to kick this thing over to my partner in crime, Mr. LSU 2019 national champion with them LSU Bengal Tigers, Keith Sanchez. You can find and follow him on X at The Talent Code. Keith, talk to him, baby.
What's up, Locked On family? This is Keith Sanchez, man, the other side to this dynamic duo that we like to call the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, man. I want to thank y'all. I want to say shout out to our everydayers. Thank you for tapping in with us every single day, man. Like we said, we talk college football, we talk NFL football, but what? It all starts with the NFL Draft, DP, and that's why they are here. That's why we are here, to give them that content, that championship level content each and every single day. But DP, today's show, man, we're talking what have we learned, right? You talked about Will Levis. Doesn't seem like the Tennessee Titans are going to draft a quarterback, so are they just going to draft some protection for Will Levis so he can hold on to the football, DP? And then we're going to get into this rookie report. There are two wide receivers having totally different rookie years, man, in polar opposites, and it's really unfortunate for one of those guys, and we're going to get into that conversation, and then we're going to follow this thing up with the game ball. So, yes, y'all know Coach K, Coach DP, making another game time locker room appearance. So, man, y'all make sure y'all stay tapped in. But before we get started, why don't you hit him with our title sponsor, DP?
Guys, go download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. What have we learned? What did I learn after watching the games this past Sunday for Week 11 NFL, Keith and guys? What I learned is that the first offensive tackle for the 2024 NFL Draft coming off the board will go to the Tennessee Titans. This is one of the worst offensive lines in football right now. And while, no, we're either one of us super high on Will Levis coming out as a prospect. No, we both gave him second-round grades. He was drafted in the second round. But it's hard to evaluate a young player, a young quarterback. We talk about this with Bryce. It's hard to evaluate when you don't have any time to throw a lot of times. Right now, don't get it twisted. Will Levis has the tendency of not getting the ball out quick enough. So for what he can control, he's got to fix that. But the stuff he can't control, the offensive line, Andre Dillard, not picking up blocks, not having great technique, just not having a dog in them, right? They're shuffling tackles in. You got Jalen Duncan supposed to be starting to get some snaps at left tackle. Nicholas Petit-Frere from Ohio State, they drafted in the second round of the 2022 NFL draft. It's just a mess right now, right? So it's like this offensive line needs help. And they tried to go through free agency. They tried to bet on some of the young talent that they drafted. And Keith, when I just sit here and look at the end of the day, man, not only is it they need to improve from a pass blocking standpoint, but when teams are starting to say, you know what, we finally know, let's take away Derrick Henry. And they start loading the box up to take away Derrick Henry. And then your play action pass doesn't have enough time to get the pass off, or whatever the case may be that throws a hitch in that plan. They got to address the offensive line. And I think that's where they'll end up going. And it's either going to be Olu Fashanu from Penn State, 6'6", 315, 320, a freak athlete who's still a little raw from a fundamental and technical standpoint, or the big 6'6", 6'7", 325-pound Joe Alt, a guy who's more nimble, right? He's more polished than Olu, but his ceiling, due to the different levels of athleticism, is a little bit lower. But both of these guys are top tier offensive tackle prospects, and I think that's what the Titans are. That's what I've learned, that the Titans should actually tap in and target one of those two guys.
DP, so I'm gonna follow that up with the Tennessee Titans are getting closer and closer and closer to a top 5 pick, and you're saying that even if a quarter, because I've been rooting for chaos this whole time, and chaos is coming, DP, with the Tennessee Titans. Are you saying they should grab a tackle even if they're in range? Like if they're sitting at pick 4 or pick 3, which is possible, they should still grab an offensive tackle instead of potentially grabbing a Caleb Williams or a Drake Maye?
Yes, I'm gonna tell you what, Keith. For one first things first, for me, from a locker room standpoint, did you draft another quarterback? Listen, man, them veterans gonna be in that locker room looking at everybody. What are we doing? Like we go Malik Willis in 2022.
So are you buying in on the Will Levis? Are you buying in on Will Levis? Is that what we saying? I'm trying to get down to it, DP. It's, you know what I'm saying? We're trying to get down to the nitty-gritty. It is Tuesday morning, DP. We're trying to figure this thing out.
Completely. But I will say he's shown me a lot in terms of, okay, I can see the promise there, right? Am I gonna say he's gonna be a top tier quarterback? But no, I think you get him the protection, because also I don't want to bring another young quarterback behind this offensive line. You know what I'm saying? Like this offensive line class is deep, but like this is first of all, I think that they might get rid of their coach. They should. He should absolutely. Mike Vrabel's not a good coach to me, but right now, I say, listen, go ahead and shore up the protection. Get some bullies on the front line, right? Some bouncers. Protect your quarterback first, because you throw Drake. We've seen Caleb Williams under pressure. We see Drake Maye, make some bonehead decisions under pressure. If you go to Tennessee, you can be making those all game, all 4 quarters. Let's go ahead and shore up this protection first.
Okay, this would be.
And maybe you draft Quentin Ewers in 2025.
No, you can't do that, DP. You can't preface, you can't hedge your bets like that. You can't hedge your bets. And let it be known, it is on fact, it is on record. DP is on the Will Levis train, man.
I am reaching out to help this young man. I am just being an advisor at this point.
All right, cool. Okay, that's where we at with DP. What have I learned? The Arizona Cardinals, you're right where you need to be, baby. You are right where you need to be. You're sitting at pick 2 right now. Kyler Murray is back, and he's healthy, right? And he looks like the old Kyler Murray. He's around there running around, making plays. But we knew that this team wasn't this good, right? Collectively. So it's not surprising that they're losing. So it's fine. Continue to lose the games. You're just happy that you have your franchise quarterback. So you're sitting in a position where you can trade out of that number 2 pick, right? And get more draft capital and still round out your team. You can draft Marvin Harrison Jr. with that 2nd overall pick. And now you give Kyler Murray, a young wide receiver, one of the best wide receiver prospects that we've seen over the last 20 years, right? He's top 3, top 2, whatever, however you want to call it, right? Or you can draft up Caleb Williams or Drake Maye and trade Kyler Murray still, right? So you're exactly where you need to be if you're the Arizona Cardinals. And that was my biggest takeaway, was that Kyler came back and Kyler's healthy. Now we can move this thing forward. And you have 3 different options on the table, and you can figure which one you want to go with. So I think that was my biggest takeaway. Arizona Cardinals, y'all are sitting right there at pick 2 with a franchise quarterback that you've seen play at a Pro Bowl level, with the number 2 overall pick that you could trade out of, or you can grab one of these top offensive skill position players and still be able to pair that with Kyler Murray.
No, I like that, Keith, because at the end of the day, you thinking about, right now, because they had the Houston Texans pick from that trade.
And so they have another first rounder. Yep.
Another first rounder. It's right now per Tankathon. That pick, because Houston is 6-4, is the 21st pick in the NFL draft, right? Because Houston's in the wild card right now. So then we're having the 2nd pick. If you trade back with a team, let's say it is an Atlanta, and you trade back to 8, who they're 4 and 6. So they say, man, I want to go up and get Drake Maye or Caleb Williams or whoever QB2 is. Let me move into that spot. Maybe the New England Patriots say, you know what, man? Bill Belichick said, I'm putting all the chips on the table for the first time in my life, Keith, and I'm not even waiting no more. Mac Jones is not going to be my quarterback. I'm going to move from 3 to 2. Right. And now you move back to 3. You could draft Marvin Harrison Jr. You get an extra 2nd. No, how you phrased that was perfect. The Arizona Cardinals are right where they need to be.
Well, DP talking about Bill Belichick. They said that Bill Belichick might be headed to the West Coast to replace your boy Brandon Staley. That was just NFL rumors. But DP, we're just out here. We're talking about it. We'll see what happens. But we know what's going to happen, DP. And that is that the rookie report is coming up next, man. We're having a wide receiver conversation about 2 rookies, man. Like we said, who are 2 totally different sizes, 2 parts of the country, right? One drafted in the 1st round, one drafted in the 3rd round. But they're having polar opposite seasons, man. And we want to have this conversation. So coming up next, man, this is about to be a really good in-depth conversation. So y'all make sure y'all stay tuned.
You shouldn't have to worry when you're going to buy tickets for your next big event. But if you wait to the last moment, you will. Because, guys, at the last minute moment, you're trying to avoid being scammed or dealing with scalpers. You're trying to find the best deals while competing with other buyers. Let me tell you about Game Time, though. It is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all your sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. What do they offer, DP? Well, let me tell you. Last-minute tickets, flash deals, zone deals. Their tickets are easy to find and buy. And this is the best part. They show all the views for every seat in the venue. So before you purchase that ticket, you know what vantage point you will have. Okay, guys, it is rivalry week in college football this Saturday after Thanksgiving. And you talk about a big game, the Oregon State Beavers versus the Oregon Ducks at Autzen Stadium. You can get tickets right now for as low as $193. So, guys, what else do you need to do? How can you get in on this? Just download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Let me say that again. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. This time of year can be a lot, guys, with the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas right around the corner, and it's natural to feel some anxiety about it, right? And anxiety can create sadness, okay? I tell you right now, by adding something new and positive to your life can kind of counteract some of those feelings, right? And that's what therapy comes in. It can be a bright spot amid all of the stress and change and something to look forward to make you feel grounded, to give you the tools you need to manage everything that's going on, right? With all the emotions, you need someone that's going to be objective, that's going to hear everything you're saying, is going to give you the right advice and the right points to be able to take the right steps forward. If you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Find your bright spot this season with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/lockedon today to get 10% off your first month. That is BetterHelp, guys. HELP.com/lockedon. The rookie report, Keith, our boy, QJ. Quentin Johnston, man.
Gotta talk about it, man.
Gotta talk about it, man. We gotta talk
about it.
He right now on the season, he has 34 receptions, 183 yards, averaging 9 yards per catch, and he has a touchdown. This past weekend, he was targeted 6 times. He caught 2 passes for 21 yards versus the Green Bay Packers in the loss. But where the issue has arisen with him is, and some people say, well, it's always been that way. And I guess a little bit. It's the drops, Keith. It's the drops. In the game this Sunday, he albeit he had a big opportunity to basically not even just get them in range to win the game. He won vertically. You saw the big athleticism, the speed, the athleticism, but it's the hands, it's the tracking, and the ball's right over the shoulder, and that's why I continue to see the issues. Tracking the ball over the shoulder, whereas you're bringing it in like this, it's very his hand configuration is unorthodox, and he's dropping the passes, and that ball was on the money, is right there for him, and it's like, QJ, keep your feet, stay upright, reel this in, and then break away. You win the game. You win the game for your team more than likely with that reception. And he dropped it. And he's had some other issues, over the shoulder passes this year as well. And it's like, man, you hate to see it, Keith, because he's so talented, but he's also like he's not playing with any lick of confidence right now.
Yeah, I'm with you on the confidence part, and that was tough to see, man, because obviously we knew that there was some drops at TCU, right? But you also seen who he was as a player, and you seen him catch the ball, right? I mean, it's still a guy that caught the ball a whole lot, right? To get the production, you have to catch the football. And I think when you go back to the scouting part of it, right, and you hear about some of these other wide receivers that had drops, like even when you get to it and you talk about, I think like Terrell Owens, right, might have led the NFL in drops like 3-4 years in a row. Yeah, it's been these highly talented players, right? You just worry about his mental, right? Like the fact that you hope that he doesn't go in the tank. And we've talked about it on past podcasts. It just seems weird in their usage of him, right? It's not like he's a high volume, high target guy. Even when Mike Williams went down, right, it was like, okay, let's put Josh Palmer there. Then it was rumblings of he's struggling picking up the offense, right? And alignment and things like that. And it's like, man, the guy is 6'2", 6'3", 200 plus pounds. Just get him the football. And then in this game, they got him the football, DP, and he wasn't able to come down with the football. You hated for him. And I not sympathetic to him because I graded him high. I just always I get sympathetic to athletes when you can see them go in a tank, right? Because we already know what's coming to happen. The Josh Rigger comparisons, the what's the wide receiver from Baylor, the Kevin White, the it's Corey Coleman, I'm sorry, that's his name. Yeah, it's going to be so many, it's the Big 12.
Big 12.
You're going to have to see that and you're going to have to eat it. And it was there for the conversation, right? Even with drafting him, it's like another Big 12 wide receiver. And I was like, I'm not going to pay attention to that because that's not fair to every other wide receiver, right, that come from the Big 12. So I just think we'll see, DP. And I'll say this because I think Ben Solak tweeted it out. And he said that the Chargers had 6 different drops. And it was like one pass that like hit Keenan Allen like straight in the chest, like just like right on the goal line. And it just hit him in the chest and went straight to the ground. It was like, what's going on? It's sometimes it
seems like everybody's tapping out right now, Keith.
Yeah, it's just a weird situation. Everybody's extremely frustrated. This is nowhere near what it's supposed to be. This is supposed to be one of the better teams in the AFC West, right? Like in the AFC period. Like we're talking about them, like some people probably put money on them winning a Super Bowl or something like that, right?
You just paid Justin Herbert a lot of money. You know what I mean? You paid Justin Herbert. You got Derwin James, Joey Bolson. I forget the guy. I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. Khalil Mack. I want to say this, Keith. One thing I've realized, Brandon Staley had a post game interview conference thing, and he's berating the reporters. Don't ask me if I'm going to keep calling plays on the defense, and don't ask that question again. Why are you asking that? And it's like, this is a fragile man. So what does that tell me, Keith? You as a former coach, you've been in the locker room, right? That fragile, like players can sense that, right? So if you're fragile, you can't take the heat. You can't encourage them to take the heat. You can't pick them up if you can't pick yourself up. And as I sit there and watch that, and I'm like, and I've heard a lot of rumblings from people on that side of the coast, and it's like, he's just not a good coach. And it's like, well, that's clear as day now. You sit there and you watch it. He's been making bonehead decisions after bonehead decisions since he's gotten there, right? Close games. Let's go for it on 4th and 10 inside our own 30. For what? You know what I mean? He does these weird, just idiotic things. And it's like, you get a real coach in there, a better coach that can pick these guys up and be there and be kind of their backbone when they're going through their own issues. Like, listen, man, I believe in you. We still got this. Let's go. And that's why I wonder, like, where's the leadership on this team right now? Or are the leaders tapped out too?
Yeah, and this reminds me of this switch. Remember, Anthony Lynn was there, right? And they pulled the plug from Anthony Lynn. It's like, oh, we're supposed to be winning a whole lot faster. Well, it's been 3-4 years of Brandon Staley, and he's still not there, right? And this reminds me of the Lions. Yeah, when the Lions got rid of Jim Caldwell, when the Lions were stable. Remember, there was a solid football team, make the playoffs here and there, stuff like that. And then they fired him for Matt Patricia, right? And it's just similar things where it's like, hey, maybe everything else has to improve also, and then y'all are going for lesser options. But DP, let's talk about the other side of this. Tank Dell. Tank Dell, man, is playing like a top 20 wide receiver in the NFL. Talking all 5'8", 160 pounds of him. You've seen the route running. You've seen the explosiveness. You're seeing the hands.
The 4.3. We see the 4.3 that he ran, Keith. That's what we see. The 4.3.
This is a 4.5 DP. You ran a 4.5 officially. Ask those cornerbacks if that's a 4.3, right? Ask them how you feel, man. But this is a guy, DP, I really quick because the conversation is going to be smaller wide receiver. How do you go with it? How do you handle that, right? The difference was this, and we said this, and Tank Dell was in my region, and I remember presenting him. I'm like, this is a smaller guy who wins on the outside. He's not just a slot wide receiver. He understands how to win on the outside. He understands how to win as an outside wide receiver, and you're just seeing that translate. Like, the guy is 100% comfortable. When we got to the Senior Bowl, we talk about it time and time again, right? They lined up in one-on-ones. He cooked one person. The rest of the DBs was like, you know what? I'm not going. You're not putting me on NFL Network. I'm not going viral. So how about you go? And then the other DB pointed to the other DB. How about you go? They didn't want to.
It was a Spider-Man meme all over again.
Yeah, everybody, nobody wanted to line up, man. And that just showed you the amount of respect that they had for him. And everything is just translating because this is a guy that separates. And you talk about Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. Bryce Young don't have one of those. You know what I'm saying? Like he don't have one of those. That's a different type of thing going on with Tank Dell, man. So it's definitely really good to see him. Like you talk about a rookie 3rd round pick producing early and often.
100%, man. And we talked about him, during this draft process. And like you said, I think this is the more him and Devonta Smith and some of these smaller receivers continue to play well, it's going to open that door for teams to be more and more comfortable with the quick twitch, the separating those smaller receivers who clearly have that dog in them. Teams are not going to be like, man, but he's only 5'10", 165 pounds, coach. I don't know. Man. Like, we need a guy like that. We have our trees. We have our towers. We need the Josh Downs. We need the Tank Dells. We need these kind of smaller, athletic, quick in and out of break receivers, because those are the guys that option routes and quick routes. Like, and the crazy thing about it, people thought Tank Dell was going to be solely a slot. He's playing on the outside, Keith, and he's winning. So, listen, don't scout the height and the weight as much as you do, as much as y'all do, right? Scout the player, scout the skill set, and see what happens. Because Tank Dell had all of it, and he's showing it from Houston to Houston.
Yeah, right now it's simply this: can he get open, right? And that's what I like to ask about the wide receivers. How does this wide receiver get open? Can he get open? Can he separate? And Tank Dell is checking the box. He's saying yes, yes, double yes, all day long. I'm open, right? Like the Jamar Chase thing, right? He's saying I'm 7-11. I'm always open, man. But DP, let's keep this thing going, man. Matter of fact, I said DP. I'm sorry about that, DP. This is Coach DP. This is Coach K making a guest appearance. We're jumping back into the locker room, NFL edition. We are handing out game balls to some of my favorite performances. So, man, make sure y'all stay tuned.
Continue to score this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Guys, right now, brand new customers can get $150 in bonus bets back with any winning $5 money line bet. Brand new customers can get $150 back in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins, okay? If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, first things first, stop thinking, okay? Stop contemplating. Put some action and let's go do it. Secondly, there's no better time or place to get in on said action, right? The app is super easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and so much more. Guys, all you need to do is go and visit FanDuel.com/locked-on and kick off the NFL season. Again, go visit FanDuel.com/locked-on and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel is the official partner of the NFL. Coach K, who are you giving your game ball to this week?
DP, I am going to Wisconsin. I am going to Wisconsin, and I am handing my game ball to the quarterback on the other side of that conversation we just had, DP. And I'm handing my game ball to Jordan Love, man. Listen, he went 27 of 40, 67% completion percentage, 322 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Played well enough for them to win a football game. A Green Bay Packers offense, a Green Bay Packers community, a Green Bay Packers fan base, a Green Bay Packers everything. That was reeling a little bit, right? They're in no man's land. They haven't seen this, DP. They have not seen consistent losing football in almost 40 years, right? It's been since when did Brett Favre get there in 96, 95, something like that? It's been a long time, DP, since they've seen losing football. And they've seen an offense that didn't appear to look like they knew what they were doing. And it was good to see Jordan Love come out there. You've seen the emergence of, you want to talk about another rookie, right? Dontavian Wicks, who we've consistently talked about. Was like, hey, they got this guy in the 7th round. That was crazy. He's showing up and showing out. So I wanted to hand my game ball to Jordan Love because it's going to be important. Obviously, the Green Bay Packers, we talk about their roster, but what are they going to do at the quarterback situation, right? We don't know who's going to fall. Like if Michael Penix, because we know, there's injuries there and stuff like that. Is he a guy that can play well in this offense? We talk about pushing the ball vertical, having the offensive weapons, giving your wide receiver a chance. Jordan Love, he may be fighting off of other people, right? And preventing the Green Bay Packers, because this is the Green Bay Packers have told you as an organization. Even when we have a Hall of Fame quarterback, we would draft a quarterback. So you best believe if you're not playing well, DP, they go draft another quarterback and get that thing figured out. So I wanted to give it to Jordan Love. He had a hell of a performance.
No, I like that, Keith. I love it You know what I mean? Pun intended, because he did play very well. But Keith, I got to go to my rookie spotlight guy from Friday's episode, DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, in the game where he dropped back and threw 43 passes. They couldn't get the run game going the way that they hoped, the way most expected them to be able to do. But in a game against TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, Alex Highsmith, right? That defensive front, Keanu Benton, Joey Porter Jr., all those guys that they have in that secondary on that defense, right? He was 24, 43, 165 passing yards, 3.8 yards per attempt, and he didn't have any passing touchdowns. He did have an interception, right? And both people are like, well, why is he getting the game ball? When it mattered most, Keith, right? You want to get down, you want to go and win the game, right? You across from Kenny Pickett, and it was multiple times. When the Steelers got the ball back, I said, well, this is about to be the walk-off. This is gonna be the last drive that they need to win this game. And the defense stepped up. Kenny Pickett, who's not been the dude, and we're gonna have to have that conversation about them at quarterback sooner than later.
That's gonna be a conversation we'll have to
It's
talk
gonna
about.
be a conversation. I don't like what I'm seeing, and it's like, hey, you might want to go ahead and find somebody else, but we'll talk about it another day. But with DTR, man, like that last drive, I think he was 4 for 4. He drove them right down the field and got them in scoring distance, and I think they kicked the game-winning field goal. And especially in a divisional game, right? You got a chance to either go, you're going to either be 6-4 or you were going to be 7-3. They walked out of that bad boy 7-3. The Pittsburgh Steelers fall down the wayside. They go to 6-4. And that's a big divisional win, Keith. So I got to give my game ball to the rookie, DTR. You were thrown into a very difficult situation. It's not like, with Will Levis, he had 2 weeks to prepare because they had named him the starter, and he had the bye week and the week coming into the game. DTR watched, Deshaun Watson played last Sunday. Then Deshaun Watson is, we find out the very next day or two, he's out for the season. Now you got a couple days to get prepared and get ready. So I think he is going to be the starter for the rest of the season, and they more than likely can try and get more out of him and continue the game plan, get him comfortable earlier in games. But, man, this young man showed tremendous mental toughness, and I really appreciated that last drive. Your team needed it. You were at home. Your defense did everything they could for you, and he went out there and he sealed the deal.
Yeah, and that's a tough matchup offensively because of Pittsburgh's defense, right? So you're looking at it from the perspective of DTR. Hey, you didn't play well, but then also you played against a really good NFL defense at the end of the day that they're able to stop a lot of people, DP. And so to go out there as a rookie, and you just want to see him have that competitive toughness. And then this is the other thing. What the Cleveland Browns, what they bring. Defense and a run game, right? And y'all have offensive weapons. So you want to be that guy that they can like, you know what? You're just going to make a play. And it's almost like this, right? And the Vikings just lost. But you know how you start to gain that momentum and the positivity and the team works a little harder. And they kind of surrounded Josh Dobbs talking about the Minnesota Vikings. And it was like, just make a couple plays and let's see what happens. I think this Cleveland Browns team is better, significantly better than this Minnesota Vikings team. When you talk about from top to bottom, player for player, position for position. So if you put DTR in that situation, he shows that he can just simply make plays. The Cleveland Browns, who knows, they can make it to the playoffs and then they can upset somebody, right? Send somebody home packing early that we wasn't expecting to go home packing. So I'm excited for him. Like I said, I've talked to the young man, interviewed him. When I tell you, like, he's a football guy. He's a grown man from the perspective of that's what you want your quarterback to act like. Now we'll see how the play matches. But, man, I like I said, from the mental perspective, I'm all for it. But, DP, man, listen, that wraps up another podcast, another show of the Locked On NFL Show podcast, man. I want to say thank you. Shout out to our everydayers, man. Thank you for tapping in with us every single day, man, as we are grinding this thing out, grinding this college football season away. We have 1 week left, and then we head into championship games, and then we get the college football playoff committee making decisions, man, and then we NFL schedule. We're getting down to the nitty gritty, man. Some of those teams are on the outside looking in that we didn't expect, man, but want to say thank you for tapping in with us as we go through this, man. You can find me, Keith Sanchez, on X at The Talent Code. You can find Damian Parson, DP, on X at DP_NFL, man. Y'all make sure to come talk to us because we talk back.
Go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Get the latest episode as soon as it is available. Thank you all for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our everydayers. We're getting into some Senior Bowl content on tomorrow's show, talking about some of the accepted invites and kind of we watched the tape on some of these guys. We're going to let you know how excited we are about them. So stay tuned for that tomorrow. Come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.